Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the meeting of the Skokie Plan Commission for March 1st. First business of order is to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Scott Berman, second Dave Merrick. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Minutes have been approved. Just for the record, cases 2017-52, P, 53P, 54P, and 55P, 56P, and 57P will not be heard tonight. So if anybody who is here tonight for those cases are not scheduled for tonight. We do not have a date yet for these cases. Okay, moving on. Our next case will be case 2018-01, a special use permit for 5121 Dempster Street. Alex 50 LLC on behalf of Barry Beneveste and Amber Gaffman requests a special use permit for a child care not in the residential in a B3 business district plus relief from chapter 118-218 to allow 2 rather than 4 legal off-street parking spaces. And is petitioner here tonight? Who's the petitioner? Please come up. Well, good evening. Before we start, let me swear all of you in. Raise your hand. Do you affirm that the testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth to help you?
Yes.
Counselors, is there a notice in order?
Notice is proper and correct.
Thank you. Okay, who wishes to speak first, or?
Go ahead, Amy.
I love this. Why don't you guys flip a coin? Come to the microphone first of all.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, identify yourself.
Barry Benveniste.
Okay, have your address, please.
Pardon?
Address.
My home address is 2040 Wagner Road, Glenview, Illinois.
Thank you.
And we are planning on opening an infant center at 5121, which abuts the other daycare at 5129.
That's the name of that daycare is?
Pardon?
The name of that daycare?
That would be Creative Paths Learning Center,
Okay.
and this would be Creative Paths Infant Center.
Okay, so it's be
Totally
addition
different entity. This would serve infants from age
6 weeks,
6 weeks up
24 months.
up to 24 months. And then the daycare next door would go from 2 years to kindergarten.
Okay, and you're asking for parking relief also?
Yes, I guess we'd need the parking relief, but where it's zoned now, it needs more parking than what we have now. And they gave the salon a variance on that.
That's when it was a salon.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Any questions of petitioner? Commissioner Coyne?
So there's separate owners between the two daycares, or same
Pardon? It's totally separate.
separate owners? Okay.
Different owners?
Same owners.
Yeah.
Ask the question again, let's get a better
Yeah.
answer.
Okay, it's same owners, same individuals.
One building's infant, the other one's
totally
only kids.
separate stand on it. They're both going to be stand on their own corporations
Yeah.
and companies.
It was funny, I came here tonight to ask the ages of the children because I was concerned about outdoor play area, but I don't think we have a problem with that.
Doesn't expect that.
Right. But where do the other kids go? They go across the street to the park at Grosse Pointe or something when they want to be outside?
The older children, they,
Want to speak into the microphone, please?
sure.
And give us your name,
My name is Amber Graffman.
address.
My address is 1124 East Cunningham Drive in Palatine.
Thank you.
So the older children that currently attend Creative Paths Learning Center, we have a 999 square foot playground in the back. So every room has their own schedule on when they can go. Our current playground, because of DCFS licensing standards, we can bring up to 13 children out there at one time. So
Gotcha.
currently it's fine working for us. And then obviously the infants and the toddlers, we take them in strollers and walk through the neighborhood.
How many infants do you, I'm sorry, Paul, how many infants do you imagine?
So currently we have 8.
Okay.
And then for the new center, we will have 2 rooms of 12 each.
Okay.
What's your staffing like for that, new addition?
So DCFS standards is a ratio of 1 to 4. So minimum would have to be 6.
So there will be 6 there minimum all the time, or would you planning on more?
No, no more than that. You know, it's kind of, you know, because we're open from 6:30 to 6, obviously, it's not going to be 6 all day. It's going to be like, you know, 1 or, 2 to 3 at the beginning and the end of the day.
Kind of an overlapping shifts?
Right.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is the reason then for the 2 different entities a marketing reason when you call something a daycare center and something an infant center? Is that because you want the public to identify it differently? Or because right now you said you already have infants at the daycare center, correct?
Correct. And that's just kind of like it's also kind of a DCFS thing too, like, monitoring the ages that you have there. And just through that, they also wanted it to be a separate corporation as well.
DCFS would prefer it be this way.
Yeah.
I don't know if we got an answer to
The infants will be gone. from the,
No, just speaking to the microphone.
So that's my question. So how many people how many students, or what you call the customers, how many attendees do you currently have at the current center, including the infants? And then when it's split and you have the new infant center, how many are going to be at each?
Okay, so currently Creative Paths Learning Center is licensed for 79 children, and we are full. And then actually moving the infants out, it would lower our capacity by 8. So it would be at 71, and then the other one would be 24.
The infant center will be 24.
Correct.
Allowing you 8 more to come to the daycare center if you want, if you can, if more people come to you.
No,
you
because the current infant room would not be a licensed room.
No, the infant room, though, is the 24 room. The
Right.
current room at the current center where you have the 8 extra children.
Correct. That would not be a classroom. So you're actually taking 8 out of the current center and moving them over to the
To
new
the
one.
24, and then leaving behind the 71, but that will not
Correct.
expand. That will stay as 71.
Correct.
I got it.
Are you okay with the conditions laid out for the kitchen in the new center?
How we presented them? Yes.
In terms of what's required of the new kitchen?
Yeah, it's a tiny kitchen, but I mean, infants don't really, the older ones have catered meals that we do now, but really most of them will be
Is
on
the kitchen also
bottles.
monitored by DCFS?
The kitchen,
Yes.
I mean, quite honestly, she doesn't really go in our kitchen. She trusts the health department.
Oh, okay, the health department then goes in there.
Yes, the Skokie Health Department comes every 6 months. Right, and we don't cook, we cater all our meals.
Okay. Well, you have refrigerators for the,
Refrigerator,
For the
3
formulas,
compartments,
yeah.
sink, everything that's required for a commercial kitchen,
Okay.
yes.
very good. Any other questions? Anybody? No? Yeah, anything else you have to offer, or no? Okay, at this time, I'll ask you to sit down, and I'll have the staff give us a report, okay?
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. The report was written by Mike Wojtek, but he couldn't be here tonight, so I'm presenting it on his behalf. I'd like to ask that the report be accepted into the record as written.
Granted.
The staff recommends approval of the requested special use permit. I should say that the existing Creative Paths Learning Center has operated there since after 2012. It took a while to get started, so maybe 2014, I think it is. And we haven't had any complaints about it. And as you can see, there's no neighbors here, even though everybody was notified. We think that it'll operate well there, and that the parking shouldn't be a issue. I don't think they mentioned, but they do have an off-site parking lot also, from what I understand. So that would help accommodate the teachers that you were questioning, as there are
The
more,
additional, the
Yeah.
additional.
because there are more
staff.
teachers than parking spaces there. The request for relief is kind of a questionable one. whether it really is needed or not. The building itself is built on a retail parking requirement of 1 space for every 300 square feet. Then the beauty parlor came in at this space here, and theirs is 1 space per 200, so then they definitely needed relief. But the daycare center itself is at a 1 per 500 requirement, so actually there should be a surplus. So technically there's a deficit, but the building was built from the very beginning with a deficit of parking because it's a grandfathered use. So I believe that there really is no deficit and that we have no objections to this use or any concerns about its operation.
And their drop-off plan is working?
Yes, it's in the
Okay.
back of the building. The front of the building is shut down. I mean, people can knock on the door to get in, but they really do not want to encourage anybody dropping kids off on Dempster Street. So it's been working well.
Okay, very good. Any questions of staff?
Just one question, and then ask, oh, sorry,
Commissioner
go,
Berman.
good, Dave. Just-
Oh, Dave, go ahead.
Last time, I don't remember if it was something to do with the distance, but the proximity to the liquor store across the street. Is there anything in state law that, because this would be a few feet, this entrance would be a few feet closer to the entrance of the liquor store, is there any issue with that?
I don't believe so. It was looked at the last time, but
No, but if you, I'm gonna answer when you come up.
Yeah.
I need for you to answer into the microphone for the record.
I believe it's not a school as the state statutes would write it.
School's not a preschool like this. I
No.
think that's said last time, I just want to make sure.
That's right.
My question had to, yeah, Peter, my question had to do with this break point between the two units, that it's quite clearly delineated that there will not be an opening, and if there is, then the sprinklers have to be changed. Tell us what the problem was and what is underlying that issue.
Well, first off, there is no problem. The entire daycare facilities are alarmed, and there'll be control panels there, you know, the enunciators and all that, and they're connected to the fire department, so, you know, there's no question about that. It's just that the way that our fire code is written, that after a certain number of square feet, you have to have a sprinkler system. And making an opening between the two units would create that space, and then that entire building would have to be sprinklered. Very expensive. They would have to go into Dempster Street to get a new water supply. So that's part of the problem, but then the overall building would have to be, you know, have it put in.
And you and the fire department are satisfied with the relative small size of each of these two spaces, not interconnected, that there's enough exit from the units that a sprinkler wouldn't be necessary?
Yes. I mean, each room has to have a separate exit, and so it's,
Two, I believe.
And they're small,
Yes.
everything's relatively small
Yeah.
and local and close to the ground.
that's right. Everything's on ground level.
So a sprinkler might be unnecessary in this space, even if it were combined.
That's correct. But, I mean,
But according to code, if it's over 5,000 square feet, it would require. a
Understood.
sprinkler.
Okay.
and our code is lower than other codes. I mean, the square footage in just the regular code in other communities is higher, and so ours is reduced from that.
But again, it's because of the relative small size of each of the two spaces and their ability to exit from each that we are not concerned about the sprinkler.
No.
Okay.
Any other questions of staff? Okay. Is there anybody in the audience who has a question or a comment on this case? I see none. Barry, Visti, would you please come back up? And I think you had some comments about, yeah, you wanted to comment on the, what, the distance between the liquor stores there? Right?
On the liquor store?
It was, you were raising your hand for a comment.
Oh, that came up when we first opened the other center.
Right,
On the liquor store, and it is not an issue, because we are not a school.
yeah,
We're not licensed as a school, and we don't fall under those restrictions.
okay. All right, so you're happy with the staff's recommendations? You can fulfill all the requirements, the recommendations that we ask of you? for this case?
Yes,
Okay, anything else you wish to offer or comment?
not that I know of.
Okay, well, thank you. Okay, I am ready for a motion. Commissioner Scott Berman.
To approve?
To
approve as approve. presented. Okay, do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Merrick. Okay. No further discussion, call for the vote. Commissioner Mitchell is absent. Commissioner Quinn,
Aye.
Commissioner Scott Berman.
Aye.
Commissioner Velages.
Aye.
Commissioner Paradise. Commissioner Lex Potty is absent. Commissioner Jeff Berman is absent. Commissioner Merrick.
It's always good to end on a positive.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. And I will vote aye. The motion is approved. So this is the last go before the Board of Trustees for final approval, and you'll be notified when that case goes before the board. Okay? In closing, before we close the meeting, I just want to wish Dave Merrick, all the best of the world. He is leaving the Plan Commission. Tonight is his last meeting, and so we all wish him well.
After how many years?
25 years. We thank you for your service. You'll be missed. You're a strong voice on the commission. Thank you, Dave.
If I show up in 2 weeks, remind me that I'm no longer welcome.
Yeah, well, we'll just show you the door. Without further ado, this meeting is adjourned, and there is a reception following, so everybody stay for that. And you're welcome to stay too.